let's show you what happens when something never comes down on one color or the other. We're going to have separate investments. Okay. So we're going to hope the player never comes down. It did. So we got to burn a hand. No, I'm going to just flat bet it, try to get it. Okay, good. Didn't lose shit. So now we're going to hope the bank never comes down. What if it doesn't? It did. So I'm going to try to get that whole 100 back again, and I'm going to throw $5 on for the prior commission. That didn't work either. Cool. I'm going to leave the table. Try it again on another table. New day. What do you say? That worked. So we keep 200 to the side. For banker never to come down to. And now we resume the same strategy for player never to come down to. And they both succeeded, and we have a direct chop, which plays right into our hands. So because this is the second effort for banker never to come down, we're not going to do 200. We're going to do 150. Thereby keeping 50 of that initial investment on the banker chop. And we won. So we have a total of 300 left out there after winning on the player bet after bank. So next time I'll pull the other $50 off. And when we get a single banker, I will bet $250. And if I win that, we have 500. In the meantime, we still have to find out about player not coming down. So, although we are at a daily, we're doing this very cheaply now. We need 2 from the prior win on player chopping, plus the win from the last time player chop for a total of 150. Let me show that a little more clearly. So the win from last time, that when we had the first player jump to bank, we made that 100. Now we're not putting 100 out there. We're only putting 2 of the initial wager from the player chopping, and this could go 3. You see what I'm doing, right? If you're following along, you might want to write some of this down, rewind the whole video, and just write it down as we're going along on each color, right? I hope this goes long chop because this will look really cool. But we don't know. Unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen. But we won again. Look where we're at already. And sure it is. If we were parlaying off the rip of the first banker of the shoe, we could have already turned this into 1,600 for 1,500 net. But this is a much safer way to do it without giving the whole stack away all at once. And you're still making more than you would have otherwise flat betting 100. Because if you were flat betting 100, you'd have only 400 minus commission. Instead, we have nearly 5. So, off we go then. So now we have 3. This is the third occurrence. So this is the $250 bet on player. And if this works, the next time it goes bank, for now, I'm going to reset the process. But if it doesn't, then we still got to reset. But anyway, this is effectively a mitigated parlay for each banker opportunity bet to go player. We win. that. Now on a parlay, straight up parlay, this would already have been up to $3,200 off $100, but that's okay. Don't gotta be that selfish. So now the player is the same exact bet as what the banker one was, because it's the third occurrence on player showing its face without coming down. Oops. I ain't gonna lie, one of these are gonna lose, obviously, right? Like, I'm scared to even do this because we are at a good number. But do it we shall. If we get this one too, we're able to reset both of these sides to the base unit of 1. But if we win, oh my gosh, we're going to be over almost 1,000. So let's see. Okay, so it didn't work. But what happened was the first 2 times we won, we pulled $50 off. So the money we effectively lost on that hand was the take from the 2 first player bets, right? We won 100 and then we won 150. We just gave away the 250 that we won on those 2 bets. We didn't give away our money because we pulled $50 off of each of the first 2 wins. Follow? So, although that does suck, like I said, it's inevitable. We are going to hope that it doesn't go 3, however, so we're going to put a test flyer out on that with the base unit of 1. We're going to see if we at least get our aggravation money back, and we do. So we got, not quite half of what we won off the player chopping, but we did have something out of that, and something is better than nothing. Now, meanwhile, we've already made the banker win 3 times on the chop, and we are up basically 2 dailies. So I'm not going to parlay it again. You could, if you wanted to be. I don't know what the word I'd choose to use for that is. You could treat it the same way as the player one that came down 2 and say even if it does, it's not our money, it's theirs. But if I give that back, the 250, we're going to be down to less than 300, right? Just over 300, 330. So it'd still be at a daily even if this next one lost, correct? If we were just trying to get a minimum of 300 a day. But since we're over 500, I don't really want to. I'd rather reset the process. So since we've already accomplished the 3 direct wins, we don't want to get involved with the 222. We're just going to reset this. We're going to hope the banker continues not to come down. And if that works, lovely. If not, we're winning. And it's still a choppy shoe anyway. So we're going to try it, okay? So we're resetting the whole process. This is effectively our original $100 from the very first bet of the shoe that we pulled off the table on the next 2 wins. So if it wins, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. So what do you do now? Both sides came down 2. Do you just leave? You could. A case could be made that you should. That's almost $1,000. I'm going to not do a 1-2 bet here, obviously. I'm going to flat bet that's going to stay choppy, because it has to now. And this is a decision you have to make for yourself, because we're over our 3-unit take already. And prior to that loss, we already had basically 2 dailies. So we're going to try. We won. Barely. No, we won 7/0. So, great. So at least we reduced on the prior hand, and then we flat bet to get it back. So we're right back where we were 2 hands ago, and we didn't pay commission to do it. Because player has already proven it can go 2, and we have a potential 2-2 pattern, I'm not going to bet this hand. I'm going to burn this hand altogether. And I'm glad I did, because it did in fact come down 2 again. I'm going to put 1 unit on bank. I win. I'm definitely burning this hand, right? I don't want to try this 2-2. And I could bet for the 2-2, but it's a choppy shoot now. And I'll say it again. If we were playing the 1-2 from the beginning of the shoe, this would have never lost, right? Because nothing went 3. You'd win 1, you'd win 2, you'd win 3, you'd win 4, you'd win 5, you'd lose 1, but then you'd win 2, effectively making it 6. You'd lose 1, but then you'd win 2, effectively making it 7. You'd lose 1, you'd win 2, effectively making it 8. Okay. Where are we right now? We're at 7 anyways, minus commission. And to do that, I pulled my own money off the table at the beginning, where I pulled 50 back, and I pulled 50 back, and I pulled 50 back, and I pulled 50 back. So I'm playing a little smarter. I'm not putting myself in a downward spiral. Even if it lost right away, I was only using their money for the most part to make that work, right? The more you're able to take a piece of your wager off of your initial wager and put it in front of you, you're basically treading water. You're basically staying at 0, aren't you? Regardless of what you win or don't win, if you take your money out as quick as you can and put it back in front of you, now you have a situation where they're chasing you, right? Because now they're putting more of their money out there to try to beat you effectively, like people do to themselves. But you're mitigating the parlay, so you're not keeping your money in there. Of course it is. Cash this out and take it to the cage. That is your money now, right? There's, truth to that. But since it is 2-2ing, I'm not going to bet that this is going to continue to chop. I'm going to burn at least this hand. And it did chop, whatever. I know we're leaving money on the table on a 1-2 chop bet, but I'm just trying to show a variation of self-protection based on the principles that I've been showing so far. And if I have things that are conflicting, I consider that a null bet, right? So it was chop, 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 chop. Then we had the 2-2s open up. We know I get nervous when I see 2s side by side by side. I don't want to bet that won't go 2, or even this one. It might bring it right back to the 2s. So we got to burn this hand. Unless you're willing to bet it on 1-1 flat bet, you're doing okay. 1-2, you're killing them on a 1-2. But you know what I mean. Understand what the objective is and be happy either way. Look at that. I'm going Austria right again. It came down the second. Okay. So I'll tell you what. I'm going to put one out there that it will chop this time. But of note, players already proved it come down 3 times. Bank's only done it once. This could be the color that actually does come down. And it did. Natural. No contest. So now we're just burning hands. And guess what? If it goes 4, I'm not involved. I'm not involved, guys. I'm not jumping on that run. I'm not giving this profit back just because they're running. Hi. See, I would have lost. See what I mean? It would have lost. The 3-4's in play. Potentially, even, But bank's the weak side. Now I'm not going to bet for a bank to chop just yet, because we do have 4 out of 5 on the second, right? It lost 1 and got it right back. This is the potential for it to win again back to back. I need to see it first. And it didn't. It chopped again. Okay. So that could have been another 100. And then normally I would jump on the player dominancy here, but I'm not going to do that either. I have my eye on the prize, and right now the player, 7 tie. Okay. So we're down to 6-unit take. This now just became a 1-unit flat bet until we can get a parlay going on the bank to not come down. And it'll be a mitigated one at that. And you can't talk yourself out of or into the idea that banks gotta come down eventually. I'm not gonna keep it. What if it doesn't? Now, I could be wrong, but what if it doesn't? Okay. Tie. Natural. And what if you're trying to make every one of these banks come down and you only did it once and then you gave it right back? You'd hate yourself. You'd be looking back at the shoe like, damn, right? Haven't you ever done that? You look back at a shoe and you're like, if I would have played it like that, and then the dealer says, oh, easy to say now, and then you say, fuck you, and then you go to the next hand. But, we have 7 units here. That's a lot of fucking money. Add a 0, you have $7,000. So, it's like, you gotta think like that. There's always the potential for stuff like this to happen. And if it doesn't happen on one shoe, it doesn't mean it'll never happen. But you gotta be able to rinse and forget about it. So we got 5 direct chops. And it's the weak side. So we're gonna bet for it for 2 hands on a flat. But actually, no. We're gonna mitigate and parlay this. And if it loses, I'm gonna do 1 to get half of my money back. I have half of my money out there right now. The 50 is half of my money. The 100 is theirs. So let's see. Let's see. I mean, it might not work. It didn't. So now we're in preservation mode. We don't know if bank's ever going to come down, but we just gave half of our own investment back, so I don't like that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to put a half a unit out there on player. I'm going to test it. And I'm going to float that way. You know, I'm not really winning since we won at the beginning over here. But look how much money we still have. We started with 0. We have 527. And if I win this, we're going to have 577. So, let's see. I'm going to get my other half of my $100 back now. I win. No, that could have been 100. And then your case could be made if you had that much money. You could have, but I was just trying to show you how to be more conservative. You know. So now it's kind of choppy, right? But I'm going to burn a hand. I'm really looking for these. I'm looking for the red ones, and I'm going to start to resume the process again. Oop. I'm going to put this guy back out there again. Hope it win. And if it doesn't, I'm going to flat bet it one more time. And if it loses both, I'm going to be down to 377, which is still a daily, which is still enough. But remember, our highest moment was like 677 or so. And that's what this will be if we win. We didn't win, so I got to flat bet it again. Okay, so the fun stopped. So these are the things you got to think about. If the fun stops on one side or the other, look at what you have and think about just keeping it. Okay? Like right here, when the 4 came down, we were down to, I want to say we were down to about 500 or so. And then we won on these, and we kind of gave it back. And then we mitigated, gave it back. And then we tried here, and we lost 2 in a row. So, you know, that didn't work, but it's not the end of the world. I'm going to try one more quick one here. And if it doesn't work, then it just shows it doesn't always work. But let's see. Let's see real quick. I'm not going to talk this time to slow it down because I don't want to make this an hour video. You already know what we're doing, so just watch. I'm not going to re-explain everything, so do this. Okay, I have to flat bet it. Okay, so that side lost. We're already down 2 units. Gotta hope bank never goes. I don't care about the run. I don't care. I really don't. Fuck that run. I don't want to look at it. It's annoying. I don't want to look at it. I know we could have won on it. Okay, this is what we're waiting for. I'm going to try this. And it lost, so I got a flat bet that it won't do it twice. And it lost again. So there you go. 4 units gone. Everything we just won on the last shoe, gone. This could happen at the beginning of your day. Alright? Go to another shoe, try to find it. What if this happened at the beginning of your day? Now you gotta fix it. I just wanted to show it that that's the potential of what could end up happening. You could lose. You could win, but you could lose. But they gotta do one or the other to us, right? And not every shoe's gonna start out streaky like that. So let's see what this one does, okay? Banker. Win. Keep that on written down on the side. You have 100 on bank. I don't care about the commission. You won 100 on bank. Now we're going to try to win 100 on player. Win. So now both sides won. Sometimes what I'll do is If it gets to 2, I'll put a significant wager on the second to chop, and I will bet every second for... What did I just get done saying? I'm not going to say that right now. There's variations to what I'm trying to do here, but you can keep the profit to the side, and the side that fails to stop at 2, you put all the profit on the one that didn't fail to stop at 2, and you just flip that one time. It's so fucking cool. But we won't do that right now. Okay, so each side won twice, so this is the one where we gotta pull $50 of our money back. So this is 50 of our initial plus their 100. If this works, great. If not, whatever. Lost. Okay. So we're gonna try to get the other 50 back that we just donated. Right? And try to preserve our bankroll. And that failed too. So we gave our whole 100 back that we won at the beginning of the shoe off the first player that jumped the bank. So be it. Now we gotta look for a banker. And hopefully this is the weak side. Oop. And do this. Now we do this. And this is effectively the bankroll chop roll. So if this doesn't work, we gotta get our other $50 back again. Right? We're still at even. But if this works, we're okay. We're at even because effectively we won on the bank flipping. Okay, that won. Great. So we might have a weak side here, right? We don't know. We're just going to ignore the dominancy in this case. We're fishing. That would have worked, though. We're going to ignore the base system for now. We're just hunting for the bank, and we're going to fucking go after it like a... Okay, so we had a $300 total last time we flipped it. So we're pulling the other 50 back. Now we're flipping their money. This is all their money on this bet. From the banker app side of the investment. If this works, lovely, la-di-da, right? But if not, we gotta bet the 50 again. Or we don't have to bet the 50. Well, we won. So we won. We have our daily just like that. Okay. And because we did, we're up. We can just find a new single bank and start the process again from 100. A case could be made. You could keep your 100 to the side and just keep an extra 50 to the side. So, you could just try to flip 245 if you wanted to right now, right here one time. But I won't. Because I want to try very hard for us to keep the 300 plus. If we lose this here, we're basically going to be back to the 100, right? And the 300, you know what I mean? I could do 200 plus here just to keep this banker chop run going. And I've seen it where bank misses a second like 8 times in a row. And if you're willing to run that up, great for you. But just understand you could lose the whole stack in one go. Okay, so whatever you're going to do, you should be trying to pull a piece of it off, and that's why. See, it lost. It lost. No, I'm not going to increase it, but I am going to bet that it won't go 3. And you know what? If it doesn't, I'm still going to have 200, but then it's going to be a mission to try to get this to 3 units and get out then, one way or the other. And I win. Barbecue. Okay. So now that it's proven to me that it can go 2, the most I would do on the first one is a table minimum. In this strategy. Because you don't want to give away a 1-2 right now and give away your whole take. People work harder than this for $400, okay? So we're going to fish for a second bank. And we're going to hope that it never comes down. But in the meantime, look at all the chops I'm leaving on the table. Like, these are all chops right now on a 1-2. And it's hard when you see that happening because you want to be involved with everything. It's still chopping. You want to be involved with everything that's going on, and you could be. It's still chopping. See what I mean? But sometimes when you have a weak side like the banker is right now, the other side's just going crazy. Like it'll have a run of 3 and then 1 and then a run of 4 and then 1 and then whatever, and you get a couple direct chops and it comes down again. But the weak side, in this case the red side, never comes down. Yeah, I mean, you could have bet small for this to chop, right? And maybe I should have. But I was just trying not to be selfish here. So I'm going to burn it again and try to sift out the second bank again. There it is. Good. So now, because we won on that one, we're basically up 100 on top of our daily of 3. So we have 400. I'm going to risk the 100 to try to get this to 500. Okay? And if it doesn't work, we're going to be back at our daily again. Tie. God. So we lost. So we're back to our 300 take. So I'd be off the shoe. Okay? Don't worry that you had 4 or 5 or 6. We made how much the shoe before? Right? Well, we lost 4 the shoe before. That's another consideration. The shoe before, we lost 4 units right off the rip, didn't we? We did. We were down to 96. We got 3 of them back right here. We had more than that before we got re-involved twice. So, once this is over, I would revert to the base system, which would call for this to be a banker bet here. And if we get the 1 unit, we're going to just get off the shoe and try to find a new one to chop the way we've been doing. I hope this worked. It worked. So I don't even want to be involved with it. I don't want to know how far it went. I'm clearing the shoe out. So those 4 units basically lost recovered the prior shoe. Now you're walking up to a new table to try to find a chop again, okay? That's all you got to think about is if it doesn't work at the beginning, erase that shoe. Go to a different one and try whatever strategy you're doing again. And just try to get 1 to 3 units. And if it's a struggle to even get 2, keep the 2. Go to another one and try to find another 2. And then, if you get those 2, you have your whole 4 back. Now you're basically effectively back to even. Take a deep breath. Take a walk. Realize you fixed it. You're going to come back. You're going to do it the right way the next time. Hopefully the shoe produces the way you're expecting and want it to. And that's all you can do. Is play what's going on. And if it's not working, just let it go. When you find a shoe, like the shoe I was just on, and you're playing for the chop, let's say, if that was what you were coming in to do for the day, you were doing just fine on a 1-2 chop on that shoe. But we weren't playing for that, were we? So, I missed out on that. And that's what's going to happen. You can't worry about what you missed out on. You have to focus on what you're working on at the time. Okay? That's all you can do. If you try changing your strategy up mid-shoe 3, 4, 5, 6 times, you're probably going to lose. When I'm playing the base strategy, I am jumping around to this, that, or whatever variable. But it's more of a flat bet or a flat bet burn kind of thing where I'm testing it. You know what I mean? I'm not playing all 80 hands. Limit the cocksuckery events and you will survive with greater longevity. I promise you that. Alright, that's it.